Oh, God. Now you can't call someone non-white. It's apparently offensive. But on what level would you do that anyway, and why is it relevant? I'll be honest, I've never been called non-white. Usually I'm described as what I am, which is black, which I have no problem with, and I'm called by my name. Why complicate things? Call me old-fashioned, but that seems like the best bet. Non-white is just one of the latest terms that has been deemed as offensive by the NICS, the Northern Ireland Civil Service, who released their inclusive language guide, which instead suggests that you should use the term from a minority background. But why do you even need to bother with all of this? Why is it even relevant? Why are organisations like the Civil Service so obsessed with this irrelevant nonsense? I remember when they came up with BAME, which some clown thought was a good idea. It's terrible. It suggests that all black, Asian, minority groups should be all bagged together. Why? What makes them think that because we are similar colours, we'll all get on, or that a black person from Ghana will immediately feel an affinity with a black person from Ethiopia? They're two completely different countries with two very different cultures. Just because their skin colour is similar doesn't mean that they will be the best of friends or have the same challenges. Of course they won't. It would be like me suggesting that a white person from, say, Russia has a similar cultural affinity with a white British person, or white people all over the world, everywhere. Of course that's nonsense. Another term discouraged in the guide is illegal migrants. Why? What's wrong with that? I get it, they don't want to hurt the feelings of people who've come here illegally, almost all of whom somehow have misplaced their IDs along the way. And I wouldn't worry about offending them with terms like that. Most of them don't speak English. How is that offensive in any case? I mean, it's the truth. Folks or team is to be used instead of ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, guys, to be replaced with good morning, everyone. And instead of mum and dad, parents should be used. In the foreword of the 26-page guidebook, Dr. Cohim, I think that's how you say it, Archibald, Minister for the Economy of Northern Ireland, said, by taking the time to become more aware of the language we use and by consciously adopting inclusive language practices, together we can ensure that differences within our workplaces and society are positively recognised, valued and respected, making us a better civil service for all. This is why our civil service is so overblown and, frankly, in my view, full of time wasters, clearly with nothing better to do than police language. Lord Young of Acton, director of the Free Speech Union, said, the amount of time and resources wasted on this nonsense is criminal. How about, instead of focusing on protecting people's feelings, civil servants paid more attention to protecting the public finances? Hear, hear. They're spending our money on ludicrous nonsense, and it's time they're held to account.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just living credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, You need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponise against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward. And that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
Joined now by political activist Aisha Ali Khan, who joins me live. Aisha, welcome. Aisha, what do you think? Are our civil servants really wasting our time and money on these so-called words that some people might find offensive, some people won't, and the words that they replace them sometimes are actually worse? What do you think?
Well, I think it's interesting because obviously we've been using, and in your opening monologue just now, you mentioned the BME as well, and this idea that, you know, there has to be a catch-all term to describe us all, and we're not the same. I mean, you're different, I'm different. Even within the South Asian community, we've got all these different subgroups. You've got the Kashmiris, you've got the Punjabis, you've got the Karachites. There's so many different people, and to kind of just call them BAME or non-whites and so on, it's actually an insult. So I think at least what Northern Ireland Civil Service, what they're trying to do is recognise all the differences, all the different nuances as well, and give them that kind of recognition. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Nana, to be honest.
Well, they're coming up with other terms, though, aren't they? Which is, again, where they've gone wrong. Why? And also, who cares? Why is it relevant? Why do you or I need to be in a category based on colour? Why, or ethnicity? What is the point? I don't get it. Why can't you just be Aisha Ali Khan, I be Nana Akua? We get to learn about each other as individuals, and we learn from each other as individuals. Literally, by putting every person into a category creates a stereotype, which then enables racism and cultural differences and all of that thing, instead of just recognising individuals for who they are and what they can bring to the table.
I mean, honestly, in theory, this sounds amazing, but in practical terms, it's just not the case. I mean, I know people look at me and they see a British-born person, but they look at my skin colour. If they didn't speak to me, they'd immediately assume I'm a foreigner, I'm foreign-born. And sadly, the way the press has been going, the way people have been talking, things online, it's such a toxic debate right now. People look at you, they don't know where you're from, they put a label on you. So I think that I'm hats off, to be fair, to Northern Ireland Civil Service. They're trying to educate people. They're trying to break down stereotypes and barriers and try to recognise that all of us are from different backgrounds and so on. But yes, it does become a little bit tiring when you're talking and you're trying to sort of recognise, oh, that person's from this place and that person's from this place. I wish we could just, you know, like you said, do away with all these terms.
Well, we could.
Can't, because we
really could if we stopped doing this. Because all we're doing is replacing one label with another one. Stop the labels. Just stop it altogether. And I love it when people say, I wish we could. We could. We really could. We can do it with animals. You've got a black cat and a white cat and a ginger cat and a tabby cat, but they're all cats. And nobody sees, oh, tabby cats are more likely to do this and black cats are more likely to do that and white. They don't do that. We can do it. We do it with animals, we do it with dogs. We can do it. We can.
But Nana, sadly, what we've found is that people do make judgments immediately. They make.
But why do you think that is?
Judgments are.
Yeah, but why do you think that is? Do you not think that we are perpetuating it? So by saying BAME or by doing this or by calling that, you then start to create another subdivision, and then everyone sees that, and then everyone sees this, and then I never thought about. Good afternoon, guys. I didn't see boys, I didn't see that it was men. I saw it as a universal term that meant people. But now I'm forced to look at it and say, guys mean guys, but it doesn't. Even the word mankind doesn't actually come from the word as in male, it comes from the word human, which is humankind, which means a peoples. It doesn't mean man. So all we're doing now is subdividing language and taking literal interpretations of it when we've actually missed the point.
I mean, language is so important, and look, we use language every single day to communicate, to share our feelings, to share knowledge, and so on. And I think look, I'm the first person. If something is not right, Nana, I'm the first person to complain about it. We had this whole NHS guidelines a couple of weeks ago, promoting almost first cousin marriages, and I massively objected to it. But in this instance, I think it's a good thing. I think what we're doing is, or what the civil service are trying to do in Northern Ireland, is to recognise different groups, to respect different groups, to actually educate the people working. And honestly, using different language, more inclusive language, helps people to kind of feel seen, feel recognised, and ultimately it's for betterment, is to bring people together as well. And it's not just putting labels on people; it's to recognise, yes, you're different to us, and yes, you're different as well. But you know what? There's always respect for you as well.
I don't see why you need to be recognising somebody's a slightly different colour or somebody's a this and that. I just don't see the relevance. I think it's ridiculous. I think it perpetuates the stereotypes. It has no place in current modern day society. It's about time we appreciated each other for who we are and what we can bring to the table, rather than trying to categorise an ethnic group or this or that. Because as you pointed out, it's just not. Where does a mixed race person fit into this then? Because what do you see there? My daughter is white and black, but from this and from that, it just doesn't. It's got to stop. And also, do you not think they're wasting our money on this?
No, I think in many ways, if we can educate people, it's not a waste. And my son himself is mixed race. He's half Pakistani, half Kashmiri, and he's and to be fair, it's really funny because he just feels British. He doesn't really see himself in those terms. But when he's in he visited Pakistan and he's been to Kashmir as well, it's actually quite interesting to see his own identity develop and how he feels about it as well. And it's really unfair actually, because we have groups of people that are just not recognised. I have lots of Shia friends as well, and they're not seen, they're not recognised. They're a minority within a minority within a minority as well. So I think when we talk to people and we hear their experiences and they feel comfortable and confident to share their own sort of feelings and so on, that's when I think we can really break down barriers. I think that's when we develop our understanding and so on. So I think it's a positive thing.
I'm not, because now you're saying the share groups, so we've got to do that one now, and another group and another group and another group, and there's this group and that group, and then there's about 1,000, and what you've done is now divided everybody up into groups, and I think to me it's very divisive.
But we're not one group though.
No,
None of us are one group. There are lots and lots of different identities, and it's a way of it's an opportunity to recognise those identities.
No, there aren't any groups. They're just people, individuals, and we should all be seen as who we are and respected in that way and seen as the individuals that we are. I don't believe in any of it. I'm sorry. And I think it's a waste of money. It's about time they started fixing their countries rather than wasting time on this. Thank you very much, Aisha Ali Khan. Wonderful to talk to you, political activist Aisha.